What's going on, guys? This is Duels Down Under. My name is James and welcome to my March 2022 Floowandereeze deck profile. Like the intro said, this is my March 2022 Floowandereeze deck profile. I was lucky enough to have all the pieces in this deck, so I'm going to take you through the build I've been playing around with. I am going to be honest from the start and say I am by no means an expert with this deck, but boy oh boy am I having an extreme amount of fun with it. Before I get into the profile though, there is a brand new subscriber out there who I do need to give a shout out, and his name is Thor. If you are watching this, buddy, I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. But let's get into the deck profile. I'm only going to take you through the main deck and the extra deck for today. As you know, everybody's locals looks a little bit different, so what you are playing in your side deck will be different to what is in mine. More than happy to go through a few options when we get to the end of the video. However, it is totally up to your local scene as to what you are playing in your side deck. I have a flat 40 cards in my main deck, and of course, as you would have been able to see, we are starting off with a single copy of Floowandereeze and impair. Now this guy is your spell and trap searcher. This guy is your floodgate for your opponent's special summon monsters, but remember they do need to be in attack position for those effects to be negated. We are playing 3 copies of Floowandereeze and ROBINA. Now this is the bread and butter of the deck. This is the guy you want to see in your opening hand, and this is the card that can make things happen. This guy allows you to search a level 4 or lower winged beast monster from your deck and add it to your hand. This guy gets you into your Eaglin. That really starts getting your plays going. If you already have your Eaglin, of course you've got the option to then search out your barrier statue. But like all of the Floowandereeze cards, the extra effect is that when you do search that card, you are actually able to immediately after resolution normal summon another monster. We mentioned the fact that we are playing Floowandereeze and Eaglin. We are playing, of course, 3 copies. This guy lets you grab your big, let's call them pseudo boss monsters. So the impair, this will let you grab your Raiza, the Mega Monarch, and this guy will also let you grab your Mr. Valley Apex Avian as well. We are playing 1 copy of Toucan and 1 copy of STRI. Now, I've actually been quite happy with the single copy of STRI. However, with the more people playing DPE around my locals, I am looking at actually increasing that to 2, because it allows you to actually banish a card from your opponent's graveyard when it is a normal summon to the field. So I feel like having that extra copy of STRI might go a long way into just adding another little bit of disruption during my opponent's turn. They are our Floowandereeze monsters. We are going to continue on with the Floowandereeze engine and look at the spell and trap lineup. We are playing, of course, 3 copies of potentially one of the best field spells in the game. An absolute banger of a card. Adds you another normal summon, lets you grab a Floowandereeze monster and just gets your plays going. We are playing 3 copies of the quick play spell that was released in the latest core set, Battle of Chaos. Definitely a card worth picking up at 3 if you are looking to play this deck. This allows you to banish a winged beast monster from your hand or face up on the field to add a Floowandereeze monster or a Floowandereeze field spell. So it can get you into the map, or you can actually use it to grab another monster from your deck and add it to your hand. The best part about this card is the fact that if somebody decides to target your face-up monster on the field to maybe negate the search, you can actually use this, banish it from the field, and it's going to basically let those negates resolve without any effect whatsoever. So it'll get around your imperm and it'll get around the opponent's effect veiler and stuff as well. So definitely a card that I am going to be keeping at 3 for as long as this deck is in the competitive scene. We are playing Floowandereeze and the Explored wins at 1 copy. I feel like this is a necessary card and could potentially in the future be increased to 2 copies. It allows you to storm forth your opponent, so you can use one of their monsters as tribute, but the best part of this effect is the fact that you can actually do your normal summons with only 1 tribute rather than 2 if you are tributing one of those big monsters. So that is a fantastic way to get rid of stuff on your opponent's side of the field, stuff like dragoons and things like that. It's going to easily get rid of that card if you've baited out the negate, of course. And we are playing a single copy of Floowandereeze and the Dreaming Town. Look, this card is an absolute monster. It allows you to basically do your first turn play in your opponent's turn, so I don't know why you wouldn't be playing this card. I've been testing around with the counter trap a little bit as well, but it's junk at the moment. There is no need to play it. If you can get yourself set up and then get yourself reset up with the Dreaming Town in your opponent's turn as well, there's no need for that counter trap. But I will continue to test it as the format develops to see if it becomes any good. But as of now, that field spell it's a piece of shit. That is our Floowandereeze lineup. I think it's about 17 cards deep, but we are also playing the SIMORGH engine to add our players a little bit of protection. And when I say protection, I mean the chain blocking effect that actually occurs from this card. And we also play a copy of the Elbor's Sacred Lands of SIMORGH because the Bird of Perfection does need something to search. And that's fantastic. This is actually quite a good card in its own right because it also allows you to normal summon another monster as well. So just that 4 card SIMORGH engine. We also need to talk about the extra tribute summons that we're playing, guys. We are playing a copy of Mist Valley Apex Avian for the negate. For board disruption, we are playing a copy of Raiza the Mega Monarch, and we are playing a copy of Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. Raiza the Mega Monarch allows you to send cards on the field and in the graveyard back to the deck, so that is a necessary card, but you would never play it at more than 1. And Mist Valley Apex Avian, you bring it back to your hand and it will be a negate, and it is a Omni negate, so it is a really good card to have at your disposal as well. Usually MPen will be the first big tribute that you go into. However, if you've got MPen on the board and you know you need to disrupt your opponent a little bit, feel free to get out the Mist Valley Apex Avian because it can actually be quite devastating mid-turn for your opponent. I'm only playing 1 hand trap in this deck. I'm playing 3 copies of Dimension Shifter. This card is so impactful. All of our cards get an effect when they're banished. Our opponents, not so much. So when we are playing this card, we want to see this nice and early, get it into the graveyard, and then we can actually start getting some effects going and start making advantage right from turn 1. And that's even if we're going second. We can really do some damage to our opponent's resource game by having them banish all the cards that they are going to use. Onto our spell cards. It's no surprise that we are playing 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity, and that is also backed up by 3 copies of Pot of Duality. If we see both of these in our hand, it means we can potentially dig for 9 cards if we need to, and that is unheard of in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! We special summon very, very little in this deck, so the restriction on Pot of Duality is no big deal at all. And Pot of Prosperity, who doesn't want to get 6 cards deeper into their deck to find something that is going to be useful in their line of play? A couple of utility cards. We are playing a Terraforming. We play two different field spells, so why wouldn't we want to play this? Some defense. We are playing 3 Book of Moon. Again, 3 Book of Moon also gives us the ability to flip down our monsters so we can get those resolving effects. We don't want to be negated because if we have to leave 2, 3 little birds up on the board, we're not going to last too long. So if it means that we have to flip our own monster space down so we can get those extra normal summons in, that's exactly what we do. I am playing a going second card just in case I don't win every dice roll, and if you know me, you would know that that happens quite regularly. We're playing 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More. Now, People ask me why I'm not playing droplets over Dark Will and No More, and it's basically because I have to get rid of stuff from the board or from my hand and send it to the graveyard. I don't want to do that. I want to really keep my resources where I need them, and that's either on the field or in my hand. Sending them to the graveyard, banishing them when I don't want to banish them, can actually be quite detrimental to my strategy. So that's why Dark Will and No More is a much better card for me. This is a deck that will be more than a 2-turn deck. If you need to play up to turn 4, you can actually do that by using the trap card wisely. You don't have to flip it straight up. You can bait them out a little bit, play your game, and then flip it when you think the tides have turned into your favor. So that is our 40 card main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck real quickly. As you can probably see, this is a non-special summoning. Extra deck isn't really required type of deck. So we have a lot of generic stuff, but we do have a couple of engines in here also that are worth mentioning. Let's get started with the generic stuff though. We are playing ERIA and WYNN, both Charmers. I like these cards. While they're not the most utilized cards, they're the cards that we have the most option to play in here. It allows us to maybe grab something from our opponent's graveyard to then help us go into our copy of BLS Soldier of Chaos. It works. It's probably not the best play, and there may be better options out there for the extra deck, but in my testing I find this card, the BLS, actually a card that I can utilize quite well, so I don't mind it at all. You can use one of your big monsters too if you want to make it unaffected by things, so it's pretty good. We are playing the copy of SHURAIG and the copy of APOLLOUSA. Who doesn't love some negates on their side of the field? Not much to be said about those cards though. We're also playing TRISHULA, Dragon of Icy Imprisonment, just another option. We don't need polymerization for that, so nothing too dramatic. We're also playing a 3-card Zeus engine. Being able to clear that board is quite good. Getting into the direct attack with the Nightingale, followed by an overlay with the DOWNED, and then into the Zeus will give us a 3 or 4, a 4 or 5 material Zeus, and that'll give us 2 board wipes there as well. So that's a pretty good option to play. We're also playing the cards in the extra deck for Maximus as well. So we've got our side frame Lord Omega, our WYNN Pegasus IGNISTER, our Cyber Dragon, our Invoked Macabre, and our Entis. If we need to get these into the graveyard, all of these cards do something when they're either in the graveyard, and of course the Macabre is special from Cyber Dragon Nova. So if we do have to send some of our extra deck to the graveyard, we're always going to get something out of it. It's not just going to be a dead card sent. And the one card that I am playing with a little bit, and it is a bit out of left field, is SYLVAN PRINCESSPRITE. It requires 2 level 1s. That is what most of our little monsters are. And it says that we excavate a card, and if it is a spell card, we add it to our hand. If it is a monster card, it goes to the graveyard. But that monster needs to be a plant, so that doesn't matter too much at all. We're not playing any plants, so it'll just get shuffled back into the deck for our use later on. But this guy giving us an option to potentially grab our quick play spell or our field spell, maybe even something that we need, like a Book of Moon or something like that, would actually be quite helpful in the long run as well. So that is our 15 card extra deck. Guys, if there are any cards that you've seen today that you need to pick up, remember I have a TCG player link in the description down below, so feel free to click on that. If you buy cards using that link, it doesn't cost you any more money, but it does support the channel and help me create better Yu-Gi-Oh content for you. If you liked the video, feel free to smash the thumbs up button, and of course, if you aren't already subscribed, I'll really appreciate your support by hitting that red subscribe button. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next deck profile.